Hello everyone. Thank you for visiting my channel. Alright, so for today, we will be talking about the origins of the global interstate system or the making of the modern states. Alright, but before that, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel in order for you to be updated on my next video. Alright, so let's start. So we have here the Genesis of the nation state. So ito yung una nating pag-uusapan. So Genesis of this nation state, according to Oppenheimer, we will be talking about the 5 sociological perspective. We have, six. We have here looting, truce, tribute, occupation, monopoly, and the state. Okay, so in order for us to show or depict how the state was formed, we will be using the sociological perspective according to Oppenheimer, using the peasants and the herdsmen. So the peasants were subjected under the power of the herdsmen or the sea nomads. So we have here stage 1, looting. Okay, so what is the situation in this stage? Sabi dito, comprises of robbery and killing in border fights, endless combats marked by killings of men, looting of earths, and burning of dwellings owned by the peasants. Herdsmen are the most privileged than the peasants. Alright, so sa stage na ito, makikita natin na may robbery, killing, meron ding endless na combats, killing of men, looting of earths, and burning of dwelling owned by the peasants. Okay, so makikita natin na itong mga peasants na ito, sila yung inaagrabyado ng mga herdsmen. So, herdsmen are the most privileged individual on this stage. So, makikita natin na walang leadership or wala man lang organization or wala, basta nakakalat lang sila at nag-aaway. Ang alam lang nilang ginagawa ay maghanap ng pagkain or maghanap ng pasisilungan. Okay, so that is looting. That is stage 1. So, punta naman tayo sa stage 2, sa truce. Alright, so what is truce? Truce, ibig sabihin there is an agreement. Okay, so sabi dito, the peasants stopped to fight against the herdsmen. Likewise, the herdsmen stopped hurting them, realizing that peasants can't be productive when hurt. A truce began to emerge between the peasants and the herdsmen. Herdsmen protects the peasants and the peasants provides food for them. Okay, so sa stage 2, meron ng agreement. There is already a truce. Bakit may agreement? Bakit merong truce na? Because they already realize that fighting will not settle the issue. Okay, so the peasant stopped to fight against the herdsmen. So, hindi na nilalabanan ng mga peasants ang mga herdsmen. Likewise, the herdsmen stopped hurting them. Kasi na-realize ng mga herdsmen na kapag sinasaktan nila yung mga peasants, they can't be productive. So, walang magpro-provide ng kanilang pagkain. Okay, so there, the truce began. So, meron ng agreement between the peasant and the herdsmen that they are not going to hurt them. At ito ang agreement nila. The herdsmen will protect the peasants while the peasants will provide food for them. Okay, so maganda na itong stage 2, which is truce. Okay, so we have here now tribute. So, anong meron na dito sa tribute? Okay, so sabi dito, the third stage emerged when the surplus obtained by the peasantry was brought by them to the tents to the herdsmen as a tribute regularly. In exchange for the tribute being given regularly by the peasants, The herdsmen provide peace and security. Okay, so sa tribute na stage. So, dahil nga sa stage 2, the herdsmen agreed or promised to protect the peasant from other intruders. The peasant also in turn give them a tribute regularly. Okay? So nagbibigay sila ng tribute as a respect or as para ipakita nila ang pasasalamat nila sa mga herdsmen. And of course, in exchange with the tribute being given by the peasant regularly, they also provide peace and security to the peasants. So, sila na din ang nagbibigay or they continue protecting the families of the peasants. Okay? So, mas lumalalim na ang relationship ng peasant at yung herdsmen. Alright, so let's move now with the stage 4. Okay, so herdsmen trained more warriors to protect peasants from neighborhood. More powerful herdsmen arrived, occupied the territories held by the previous herdsmen, and controlled their subjects for the purpose of gathering tribute. Sorry. Okay, so yung herdsmen, mas dinadamihan na nila yung mga trine-train nilang warriors in order to protect the peasant from the neighborhood. In order, pinoprotektahan nila yung mga peasant para hindi ma-colonize or hindi ma-intrude ng ibang neighbor. Okay, so nakikita nyo na yung story ng peasant and herdsmen. Okay, so we have here now the occupation stage. Again, the herdsmen allowed the peasants in their conquered territories to administer their affairs, settle their dispute, and adjust their methods of economy. Okay, so binigyan ng freedom binigyan ng herdsmen ng freedom ang mga peasants in order for them to administer their own affairs. So, binigyan nila ng freedom na gawin kung ano ang gusto nilang gawin para sa kanilang ekonomiya or para sa kanilang mga pamilya. Okay? So, medyo na talaga lumalalim. So, ngayon, nabigyan na sila ng freedom. Okay? So, yung friendship nila naging closer sa stage 4. We have here now the monopoly. So, in stage 5, we have here the monopoly or the feudal system. Sabi dito, quarrels arose between neighboring villages. Quarrels arose between neighboring villages, and the lords assumed the right to arbitrate and, in case of need, to enforce their judgment. Herdsmen and peasants started to choose their own leaders in every village. Okay? So, syempre, in an organization or in a group, hindi natin maiiwasan na meron talagang quarrels, conflict. Okay? So, may mga conflict na na-encounter na sa mga villages between the herdsmen, peasantry. So, eto na, kailangan na nilang mag-choose ng isang leader in order to settle and enforce the judgment para meron ng masasabi na siya nang susundin natin or yung mga policy meron nang mag-e-enforce sa kanila. So herdsmen and peasants started to choose their own leaders in every villages. So sa lahat ng mga village, para makontrol ang mga fights and conflicts, meron na silang na-choose na mga leaders. Okay, so that is for stage 5 monopoly. And we have here na the last stage. Okay, so the state. Alright, so sabi dito, powerful landlords choose a king. States here that the two groups, herds and peasants, intermingled, united in customs, habits, speech, and worship, and then united in one territory. A leader was chosen to enforce rules and policies, and then the state was formed. Okay? So they were able now to intermingle. So lahat ng mga villages, syempre sabi natin kanina sa stage 5, may mga leaders na yung mga villages. Dito na sa state 6, okay, meron ng cooperation within the herdsmen and peasants, and then they are united and they were able to choose their own leader to enforce the rules and policies. And that's the time na meron ng state na nabuo. Okay, so this is all about the origin of the nation state according to the sociological perspective. Okay, so after learning about on how the state was formed according to the sociological perspective, okay, so we have here now the attributes or the characteristics of the modern international politics. Okay, so number 1 here is it was governed through nations and states. So international politics is being governed by the nation states. Another one here is states were considered sovereign nations. So when we say sovereign nation, they are free from other countries, or they are free from the control of other countries, or they have their own policies and government without being controlled by the other countries or the colonizers. Also, we have here international organizations and institutions facilitated the relations between the states. Okay, so the modern international politics now has international organization that serves as the facilitators of every countries. Okay, so let's say for example the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, the United Nations Organization. Okay, so later on we will be talking about the international organizations. Okay, so we also have here international organizations and institutions promoted standards and politics. Okay, so they are the ones who are promoting standards in the political arena of every country. Okay, so these international organizations cannot cannot force any country to follow whatever standards that they created. However, they serve as the basis of every country or every states. Okay, so that is one of the attributes of the modern international politics. So we have here now the Treaty of Westphalia. This is regarded as a historic milestone in the development towards tolerance and secularization. It also strengthened the imperial states where they could go into foreign alliance and decide important matters such as peace and war. Okay, so this Treaty of Westphalia is the treaty that ended the 30 years war in Europe. Okay, so in this way, it is strengthened more the activities of the country, activities in Europe. So it underlines here the okay, so it underlines here the activities or the freedom of the country to go into foreign alliance in order to decide for the important matters such as peace and war. Okay, so after this after the Treaty of Westphalia was signed, sinasabi na ng mga authors na dito nila tinetrace out yung globalization kasi nag-start na yung mga countries na affected dito na makipag-alliance or makipag-coordinate or makipag-interact sa ibang bansa. Okay, so this is all about the Treaty of Westphalia. So what are the principles of the Treaty of Westphalia? Okay, so number 1 here is that states were all free and equal. Okay, so there is equality between the states. Okay, so they have their own sovereignty. So another here, the principle of non-intervention of one state in the international affairs of another. Okay, so another principle. So principle of non-intervention of a state to another state on the international affairs of another state. So, in-underline dito equal ang mga state. Dito naman, non-intervention. So, hindi pwedeng makipag-intervene ang Pilipinas sa program ng India, program ng or activities ng Bangladesh or I'm sorry, Bangladesh. So, non-intervention, ibig sabihin, yung nga ine-emphasize niya dito yung sovereignty. Okay? Another one, there is no temporal authority higher than the state. So, dito pala natin matetrace out yung non-intervention ng state and the church. Separation of the state and the church. Okay? So, wala daw temporal authority na mas mataas pa sa state. Okay? Sabi dito, the church will not intervene in the state's affairs. So, until now, yan yung na-carry na nangyayari na hanggang sa ngayon. Okay. States have ultimate authority over the conduct of their internal and external affairs. The principle of state sovereignty. Okay, so no other state will enter a country and then i-implement niya yung mga batas ng country kung saan siya nanggaling. Okay, so sabi dito, walang bansa na makipag-interact or mag-control sa internal affairs and external affairs ng isang bansa. Okay? And the next one, the capacity to exercise rule over a territory bestowed the right to rule makes right. And the last one here is that whoever gained or seized power had authority to act as the head of state and enter into agreement on behalf of the people. So the election of or kung sino ba daw ang may power and authority, sila yung mag-a-act as the head of the state. Okay? So that's all about the principles of Westphalia. Pero ano ba yung mga challenges to sovereignty? Okay? So we have here now the challenges to sovereignty. Isa dito. We have here the Napoleonic Code and the Concert of Europe. So who is Napoleon Bonaparte? So Napoleon Bonaparte is the Emperor of French Empire. He posed the earliest challenge to sovereignty. He sought to spread the principles of the French Revolution across Europe. Okay, so sa next slide, we have here the content of the Napoleonic Code. We have here forbade prohibited birth privileges, meritocracy in government service, and forced freedom of religion. So ano ba ang mga to? Ano ba ang content nito? Bakit ito ay ito ang na-considered natin na challenges to sovereignty? Okay, so sabi dito, the Napoleonic Code is a principle that was proposed by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1804. It replaced the fragmented laws of the pre-revolutionary France, recognizing the principles of civil liberty, equality before the law. Another, it became the basis of civil law in Europe and in other parts of the world. So may mga principles si Napoleon na-acquire at na-pass on until now. Okay, so here is the major features of the Napoleonic Code. We have here forbade or prohibited the birth privileges. So sabi dito, the code removed all birth privileges, especially rights of illegitimate children or inheritances after birth. Okay, so gusto ni Napoleon na tanggalin lahat ng mga birth privileges ng mga tao. Let's say for example, yung mga inheritance at iba pa na dapat ma-enjoy ng mga tao. We also have here enforced freedom of religion. So sabi dito, French are given the freedom to choose any religion they wanted. Kasi 'di ba sa French Revolution, they are being controlled or isa lang ang religion na gusto nilang ipatupad sa mga tao. So during the time of Napoleon, binigyan niya ang mga French na mamili ng kanilang mga relihiyon or kung saan nila gustong makisimba or mag-worship. Meritocracy in government service. Okay, this sought to offer government jobs to the most qualified in the society. Educational attainment, work experience, and etc. This aims to remove nepotism. Okay, so maganda, di ba? Meritocracy in government service. So, yung mga applicants, yung mga natatanggap or yung mga nag-a-apply or mga natatanggap sa mga offices or companies, government or private, dapat nakabase ito sa educational attainment or work experience nila. So, hindi ito nakabase kung meron kang relationship sa pag-hire sa'yo or sa boss ng company mo. Okay, so that is the major features of the Napoleonic. Okay, so we have here now the tenets of the Concert of Europe. So, ano ba itong Concert of Europe? So, this happens in the post-Napoleonic era. And this is the consensus of the, consensus among the European monarchies favoring the preservation of territorial and political status quo. Okay, so the content or the major feature of the Concert of Europe are the following. We have here the return of the monarchy, the return of Christian values in Europe, the repudiation of the Napoleonic Code, and of course, the renewed peace in Europe through great power diplomacy. We proceed. So, from 1815 to 1914, the Concert of Europe established a set of principles, rules, and practices that help to maintain balance between the major powers after the Napoleonic Wars and to spare Europe from another broad conflict. Okay, so this is the basis of the or this sets the principle on how to maintain peace in Europe. Okay, so that is Concert of Europe. Right, so that is the photo during that time. Okay, so here are the tenets of the Concert of Europe. So, return of monarchy. So, sabi dito, dictatorship from the hand of Bonaparte will be abolished and monarchy will be installed in Europe. Okay, so they underline the policy and one of their plan is to return monarchy. Okay, so ibalik na nila ang monarchy na form of government ng Europa. So, ayaw na nila yung dictatorship ni Napoleon Bonaparte. The next one is the return of Christian values in Europe. Okay, so Christianity will be the only religion in Europe. So gusto nilang ibalik ang pagka-Kristiyano ng mga Europeans. Kasi 'di ba sa time ni Bonaparte, binigyan niya ng freedom ang mga tao to choose their own religion. So yung iba gusto nila ng animism, paganism, and etc. So sa pag-uusap nila after the Napoleonic era, gusto nilang ibalik at gawing Christianity lamang ang relihiyon ng Europa. Okay. The next one is the repudiation of the Napoleonic Code. Of course, ayaw na nilang implement ang content ng Napoleonic Code. So, this is to abolish the policies of Napoleonic Code since most of the provisions are not acceptable to most parts of Europe. Okay? So, nakita nila na hindi applicable, although yung ibang provision ng Napoleonic Code ay magaganda, pero sa ibang parts ng Europa, hindi ito acceptable at hindi nila nakikita ang kagandahan nito. And the next one here, renewed peace in Europe through great power diplomacy. Okay, so the attainment of peace in Europe through diplomacy and not war. Okay, so di ba, kapag in order for you to gain peace, you have to go to war. However, sabi ng mga monarchical leaders na hindi kailangang pumunta sa giyera ang isang bansa para ma-attain ang kanyang kalayaan. So, pwede namang pwede naman sa pag-uusap lamang or through power or through the word diplomacy. Okay, so here's now the birth of the internationalist ideas. So after establishing the end of the 30 Years' War in Europe through the Treaty of Westphalia, here are now the birth of internationalist ideas. So nag-start na ang iba't ibang parts ng bansa, especially in Europe. So, lumabas na ang iba't ibang internationalist ideas also in order to settle or in order to promote peace, para ma-promote ang peace and harmony among countries. So, meron itong mga internationalist ideas. Okay? So, ano ba ang mga ito? So, okay, so we have here the definition of internationalism. So what is the meaning of internationalism? This is an advocate of a greater political economic cooperation among nations and people. Okay, internationalism demotes political and economic cooperation among nation and people. So we have here the three internationalist ideas. We have the liberal internationalism. So mamaya malalaman natin kung ano ang mga difference nila at kung ano ang gusto nilang mangyari sa buong mundo. So we also have here the Nationalist Internationalism. Also we have here the Socialist Internationalism. So ano ba yung mga ideology ng mga ito? So ano ba so after this topic, makikita mo kung ano ang gusto mong mangyari sa buong mundo. Okay? So we start first with the liberal internationalism. So ang aim or goal ng liberal internationalism is to avert or avoid war, of course. That is one of the purpose in order for them to prevent another war to happen again. Another one, nations to give up their freedom and subject themselves to a larger system of law. So every nation will give up their freedom and then subject themselves to a larger system of law. So they will be ruled by a larger system of law. So they are going to i-give up daw nila yung freedom nila and then sumunod sa batas ng ibang bansa or Let's say, for example, international law. Another, a form of global government was needed to create and enforce these laws. Okay, so sabi niya dito sa una, sabi niya, dapat daw i-give up ng mga nation ang kanilang freedom para sundin ang international law. And in order for these laws to be implemented well, kailangan ding mag-form ng global government or international government para ma-enforce itong mga batas na ito. So this is one of the idea of the liberal internationalism. So sa tingin nyo ba meron ba tayong international government, or do we have global government? Okay, so you can just write it there on the comment section kung sa tingin nyo meron tayong international government. So this is one of the aim of the liberal internationalism. Okay, the next one, next slide, is Emmanuel Kan. Okay, he is a staunch advocate of the liberal internationalism. Siya ang author dito. Sabi niya dito, men should give up their savage or lawless freedom, adjust themselves to the constraints of public law, and thus establish a continuously growing state consisting of various nations, which will ultimately include all the nations of the world. Okay, so ito yung idea niya. So gusto niyang i-give up natin. So yung mga tao, yung mga constituents, we have to give up our own freedom and adjust ourselves to the public law. And mas maganda din na i-establish or establish din ang relationship with other nations through submitting ourselves to the law of other country. Okay, so we have here now Jeremy Benfang from 1748 to 1832. So he coined the term international, which became the foundation of international law. And according to him, international law is a collection of rules governing relations between states. Okay, so international law is the governs the relationship of the states with other states. Okay, so we have here now the Nationalist Internationalism. Okay, so pag sinabi ng liberalist internationalism na the country should give up their freedom and subject themselves to a larger law, and then also to form a government that will implement these laws. Ano naman ang sabi ng Nationalist Internationalism? So sa Nationalist Internationalism, sabi dito na nationalism and international cooperation complemented each other. Okay, so ano bang ibig sabihin nito? Ano ang gustong sabihin ni Giuseppe Mazzini? So dapat daw nationalism and international cooperation should go together. Okay, so sabi niya dito, there should be a cooperation among nation states. So kailangan meron sanang cooperation among the nation states. So according to Woodrow Wilson, sabi niya, no nation should seek to extend its polity over any other nation or people, but that every people should be left free to determine its own polity, its own way of development, and unhindered, unthreatened, or unafraid. Okay, so yan ang gusto ni Woodrow Wilson. So kay Giuseppe Mazzini, sabi niya, nationalism, so pagmamahal mo sa bayan mo, and then international cooperation should complement each other. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng mahal mo lang ang bansa mo, you love your country, but you are not participating at all in the international policies or with foreign countries or with international organization. Wala din lang. So sabi niya, nationalism and international cooperation should complement each other. Kailangan mag-go ang dalawang yan. So sabi, kay Woodrow Wilson naman, sabi, no nation should seek to extend its polity over any other nation or people, but that every people should be left free to determine its own polity, its own way of development. So sabi ni Woodrow Wilson, wala na sanang colonization. So every nation should govern their own country. So wala sanang nation or wala sanang country na mag-e-extend ng kanilang territory sa territory ng ibang bansa. So gusto ni Woodrow Wilson na i-implement talaga yung sovereignty ng isang bansa. So it goes with the idea of Giuseppe Mazzini. So if you love your country and you cooperate with the international policies, then wala nang problema. You will be able to wala na sanang colonization. Okay, so that's the idea of nationalist internationalism. We have here now the last one. We have the Socialist Internationalism. So sabi dito, the enshrining of the International Women's Day. So Labor Day is one of the legacy of this internationalist idea. Okay, so according to Karl Marx, sabi niya, workers of the world should unite. Production, distribution, and exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole. And of course, the 8-hour working day. So, ito yung idea ng Socialist Internationalism. So, yung production, distribution, and exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole. So, hindi siya controlled ng government, but the community as a whole. So, kung ano ang ginagawa ng or ano ang product ng isang barangay or village, dapat pantay-pantay yan. Okay? So, and also here, follow the 8 working, the 8 hours. Kaya, may tayo dyan sa Labor Day. Okay, na-adapt natin itong idea ng Socialist Internationalism. Okay, so that is the end of the discussion, and I hope that you have learned something from this tutorial. And if you have any question, please don't forget to comment it down on the comment section, and I will check it back later. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel in order for you to be updated on my next video. Okay, so goodbye, class.